Okay guys, this is Angelo Christian with another great edition of Learning Hub, and today we're actually be talking about one of my favorite authors, the master of business, the father of business, Peter Drucker, in his famous book, The Effective Executive. And I think it's a great book. It's one of my favorite reads. It's a short book, but it's all about time management and how to be effective. And I think it's timely for entrepreneurs, business owners, business managers, people that are wanting to learn how to be effective with their time. And I'm actually having the same issue with my company right now with time management and people that are being effective. So while I'm actually talking to all you guys out there, I have some of my team members, management watching this, and we actually do some of the exercises that it talks about in this book, because I really believe that even in my own office, that we're not getting the most out of our people right now, that our people aren't the most effective. So if you're somebody out there and you're trying to raise your, you want more out of your life, or you want more from your team, you're gonna have to raise your productivity, and it all has to do with your time and how you manage your time. And a lot of people, they don't have a concept of time. Like little children, they don't have a concept of time. There's a lot of adults that don't have a concept of time and actually what's going on with their time. And actually how to take control of the day, seize the day. And the whole basis behind Drucker's book is that for you to be effective, there's certain things that you have to be doing. We're going to go through some of the steps. It's a simple exercise, a few steps to make you more effective. Why do you want to be more effective? So you can have a higher income, so you can have a better life, so you can do all the things that you want to do out of your life, okay? A lot of people, they're not effective with their time. I constantly talk about a zombie chase and mirage. People aren't aware of what they're doing. They have the ebbs and flows of the day. They wake up, and they're not disciplined and control of the day, and they're not getting the most juice they can out of the day. And I'm using my team as an example, as a case study for this. We have a team of almost 20 employees at our office, and the productivity should be literally double what it is, but it's not, because of the effectiveness of the team. Okay, and that's something that I'm going to be focusing on tackling for the next year, is raising that level of productivity. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about some of these things. And that's one of the things that Drucker, and again, if you haven't read any of Drucker's stuff, he's one of the best authors on business. He's considered, the Einstein of business, right? And so I love all his books. This is a great one, like I said. But one of the biggest things that he says is that, being effective, it's a habit. It's something that is learned and it's created, right? And there's a good quote in there that he talks about, that being effective, it's conscious and it's deliberate. And if you're not conscious and deliberate with your time, inertia is going to take over. Okay, and you see this with your health, with your money, with your business, with your life. Inertia will kick in and pull you down. Okay, so you have to be conscious and deliberate with your time. And I see this a lot, even when people on my team, they're not conscious of what they're doing with their time. And what ends up happening is they go through the whole day and they didn't accomplish everything that they could have. They go through the motions during the day and they don't get all the juice out of the lemon, right? And then they end up being 90 years old, and then they die, and then they say, what happened? And they die with a lot of regrets because they weren't effective. And so that's the whole point about this, is raising your level of consciousness to get to a higher level of productivity. So great thing, it's simple, but it's profound. What gets measured gets managed. Are you measuring what you're doing, with your employees' time? If you're running a team, are you measuring what they're doing with their productivity? How are you measuring them? How are you holding them accountable? Okay, because if you're not measuring that, then it's not going to get managed. So your team, if you're running a team, that's an important thing. You need to be measuring what they're doing with their production, with their time, making sure that these things happen, because that's your income, right? If you're not measuring your weight, if that's something that's important to you, then you're gonna put on weight because you don't care about it, right? So it depends on the things that you care about. You want to make sure you're measuring those things, because if you are measuring those things, they will get managed, right? So I think I love this quote, because it is simple, but it also reminds me of, hey, what are the things I need to be managing, right? And if I'm measuring these things, I can effectively manage them. So, and obviously, know thy time. again, I really believe, and I'm very guilty of this too, I'm not aware of what I'm doing with all my time. And then I'm like, well, why didn't all these things get done? You have to be deliberate and you have to be conscious of what you're doing with your time. So anyway, the first thing that he says, that if you want to become more effective, this is what you have to do, is the first step is track your time. So we're going to do this exercise with our team. With every employee in my office, they're going to write down everything that they do all day. And how long did it take you to do it? For example, and this goes whether it's Chase in our marketing department or it's Ken in our loan processing department, they need to write down what exactly did you do today and how long did it take you? Okay, the other day I saw Danny, he's our branch manager. He went up to one of the loan officers, hey, why are you still working on that? It took you 2 hours. That's a waste of time. And the guy that's doing it is not thinking, hey man, I got to do something else better with my time. I'm wasting my time here. Today I saw a loan officer in the sales time, the power hour, he was working on a file. I said, why are you doing that? It's the wrong time to do it. Right? If you're not aware of what you're doing with your time, it's going to cost you severely. So everyone's going to do this exercise in my office. They're going to come in the morning and write down everything they do for the whole day. And then next to it, they're going to put how much time it took them to do it. And I bet that by the end of the week, everyone's going to be blown away. Because clearly, if you have 20 people, you should be able to do $10 million in business. But something's not happening right with the time. And it's this right here. It's poor management of time. And so we can get a lot by analyzing and breaking down. And I did this exercise before. I've read this book several times, and it's helped me to optimize my day and my time. I was blown away. I wrote down, okay, I woke up at this time. It took me 37 minutes to do this. It took me 48 minutes to do that. And I'm like, hey, why did I spend all this time doing this thing? It's the wrong time. It's out of sequence. And what it's going to help you do is be aware of what you're actually doing with your time, and then recompartmentalizing things so it can be in the proper sequence so you can get the most out of the day. Like Stephen Covey's Big Rocks, you do the big things first. So that's what the first thing is. First, let's get the awareness, okay? And then the second thing is well, what's expected of me? So if you know, the second question here is what's expected of me. Each person has expectations. You have expectations in your company, expectations with your family, expectations of yourself, okay? So if you know that you're for example, the branch manager and you're running, this mortgage company, that the expectation is that you're supposed to do $10 million in business, well then let's track this, right? If you're the loan officer and your expectation is to do $2 million in business, then why are you entering all the applications instead of having your LOA do it? If you know that you're supposed to do 100 reviews this month, then why are you spending 30 minutes recording Instagram when you can go and get on the phone with reviews? You can have the tripod do that. See, so it's not to make people feel bad, it's to make them be aware. Should I sit here for 30 minutes to hold something to record this, or should I get on the phone and get reviews? Because what's expected of me? You see? Then that's going to make you very aware, what am I supposed to be doing with my time? One of the things, I'll give you an example. I've been a loan officer for the last 15 years, and recently made a transition to pull myself out of production to grow my company and be more of a leader. And it was by doing this exercise, okay? Because we're not going to get any bigger by me just selling loans. That's not going to work. Someone has to lead the company and take the company in the right direction. And if I keep selling loans, that's all this company's ever going to be, is just me as a loan officer, and we're going to stay at this level. But to really take it to the next level and get to the vision that I have, to have billions of dollars in sales and have thousands of employees, then someone's going to have to be steering the ship. Someone's going to have to be leading the company, right? So I've literally removed myself from talking to new business to run this test to be more effective. Right? To be more effective. Know thy time, right? What are you doing with your time? And so this goes back to, what's expected of me. That's meaning putting first things first. You have to put first things first, and you have to be aware about what you're doing with your time. And one of the big things that we've actually implemented, I know that probably some people out there, you may already do this, But a big thing that's very powerful, and there's many books written about having a checklist, the power of a checklist. And if you have a lot of tasks that you have to do, a checklist will help you to ensure that those daily things actually get done, because it's so easy when you're doing a business or you have your life, there's millions of things that have to be done, and it's easy to get those overlooked, you know, or if you're a manager, to delegate those things, and then therefore you're not going to be able to accomplish the goals that you have. And we're going to talk about that here in a second. But one of the things that the book goes on to talk about here is step 3 is focus on your strengths. Okay, whatever your strengths are, that's what you need to be doing. All right, and that's what it means: long on strength, short on weakness. So whatever your weaknesses are, try to have. You don't want to necessarily try to spend more time focusing on fixing your weaknesses. You want to spend more time doubling down on your strengths. So if you're really, really good at selling, then and you're bad at paperwork, then you need to have someone help you with the paperwork. Like for me, I'm bad at paperwork, so I have to have people around me that can help me with the paperwork, but I'm good at selling, okay? So what does that mean? That means that if I'm good at selling, I need to be on the phone with more customers and doing less paperwork. I shouldn't try to improve myself to get better at paperwork, because it takes more effort, all right, for me to get better at doing paperwork than for me to increase my productivity with selling more loans. And the same amount of time, I can bring in double amount of production versus me trying to get better at paperwork. So what Drucker's saying is that whatever your strengths are, you need to double down on those strengths and have other people help you on your weaknesses. Wherever your weaknesses are, have people help you. Don't try to fix your. I'm not saying every weakness, but like things that you need to do to get better. Like, you know, if you have hygiene issues or there's health problems, you need to fix those. But if you have handicaps, like with your work ethic or not with things that you do, like if you're not good at selling to people, but you're good at accounting, you love accounting, then you should do accounting stuff and have people help you to do the selling. If you're good at details and you like loan processing, you be the processor and you have someone help you to sell the loan, right? Whatever the situation is, be long on your strengths and have other people help you to compensate for your weaknesses, okay? So, and basically, this goes back to right here is step 4, focusing on the number 1 priorities. OKR, this is from the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr. It's what is the objective? I have all my team put on their goal board. We have a goal board in our office that has all the goals of the team. So the thing that you always want to look up to is what's the objective? What's the goal? That's your compass to guide you for what you're supposed to be doing with your time. If you put on there that my goal is to get a million subscribers on YouTube, I have to put all my energy on that. That's the number 1 priority. Focus on that first. If it's to get, you know, your article published in the New York Times, that's the objective. If it's to get 1,000 customer reviews, if it's to fund $10 million or $100 million in business, that's the number 1 priority. Always put first things first. Focus on deep work and no distractions. Always put first things first. All right? Because you don't want to be distracted. In other words, okay, that you're helping a loan process, you're doing a loan processing, you're trying to get reviews, you're checking your phone, you're checking your email, you're calling a customer. No, forget all that. You need to focus on the big things based on what are the goals, what's expected of you, right? So whatever is expected of you, you need to be focusing on those things, right? And that's step 5 is what's the optimal schedule? What is the schedule that you're supposed to have, and with the proper time intervals? And you're going to see that here from the first thing that we talked about. When you track your time, I really challenge you guys and encourage you to really track your time and see how much time you're spending on things. It'll probably be a rude awakening for most. It was for me. Okay, like I was spending 8 hours a day selling loans. 8 to 10 hours a day. And it was a rude awakening for me to say, man, yeah, that's not a bad thing, but it's not optimal. There's nothing bad with me helping my company to sell loans, but if I keep doing that, that's all we're ever going to do. I mean, how are we going to expand? How are we going to grow? And by me just focusing on the business as opposed to being in the business, we've already seen radical changes with customer service, with faster turn times, reduced cost. The culture of our company has exploded. It's way better than it's ever been. We're more synchronized, we're more in focus, more in tune. The management's been the best it ever has been, because someone has to be the CEO, someone has to be the chairman, right? And someone has to see what's going on with the business. And so everyone's job is very important, but if the person that is the owner is actually in the mud all day with the team, I use the analogy of the group of scientists that were flying over the Amazon jungle, and they crashed their plane, and they were stranded. They had nowhere to go. They had no walkie-talkies, no cell phones, and had no reception. And so naturally, they just start walking with their machetes and start chopping down the branches because they're trying to get to freedom. They're trying to get to salvation and shelter. And like 3 days pass, and they're still in the jungle, and they haven't found anything yet. They haven't found any hotels. They haven't found any help. Finally, someone was smart enough to climb up a tree and look and see the direction, and see where they were at. And when they climbed up the tree, they looked and they saw that there was a teepee and a tribe the exact opposite way they were going, and it was literally 30 feet from where the plane had crashed. Okay, right? So what I'm getting at is that sometimes in life, if someone's not there to look up and see where we're going, the direction, and everyone's just down in the forest, then you can go in the wrong direction, right? And that's one of the worst things, is wasting time, because time is the most valuable commodity. That's the thing that we can never get back. You can always get more money. You can fix your health with, we have great medical, but you can never get back the time. So you want to make sure that you're not just letting the time pass and you're just going through the motions, that you're actually being effective with your time. So the main things is track your time, watch what you're doing with your time, and compare that to what's the goal? What is expected of me? If it's expected of me as a leader to provide a great culture, a great compensation to my team to take care of my people, to grow the company's sales, and for me to do all this, then I have to be able to deliver that. That's what's expected of me. And everyone has something that's expected of them, right? But if you don't get this down and you're not doing your time right, then you're never going to get this right. So it's a very, very good book, and you guys actually should read the book too. This is the summary of the book. And like I said, the first thing is track your time and make sure that you are in alignment with what's expected of you. Okay? And again, long on strengths, short on your weaknesses. Whatever you're good at, do more of that. If you're weak on something, and find out what your weaknesses are, have somebody help you in that area. If you're not good at scheduling stuff, or you're not organized, have somebody help you with that, right? If you're not good at making phone calls, you don't like to talk to people because you don't like to deal with stuff with people talking and dealing with issues, have somebody help you with it, right? And whatever you are good at, just keep doing more of that. So anyway, this is a great book. Again, Drucker, Effective Executive, love it. So what gets measured gets managed. My name is Angelo Christian. Thank you so much for checking out Learning Hub. Please click on the bell so you can get more notifications of all that. We produce great content with our show. We have Real Estate Insider, we have Real Estate University, influencers, and we work very hard to produce great content with our team here. So if there's any books you want me to review, you have any comments, leave them down in the chat box below. Follow us on our Instagram, our Facebook, and our YouTube. Please share this with your friends and your family. This is a great book if you like to do book reviews. We have a whole bunch more coming out. So thank you so much for checking us out. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.